our second episode, and today we're going to be talking about a gray mare named Derpy Hooves. Now, she goes by a couple other names, Derpy Hooves being the foremost, but she's also called Ditsy Doo and Muffins. And the reason for this, we will get into a little bit later, but we're going to go over the first name, Derpy Hooves, first. So that way it's easier for you guys to understand the other names and who she is. So when Hasbro made the first episode and they released it to the public, they failed to notice that in the background of Twilight's welcoming ceremony to Ponyville, when they were in the library, they had accidentally turned one of the mare's eyes upside down. Well, some of the fans noticed this, and they started speculating about Hasbro putting a mentally handicapped pony into the show. Well, Hasbro, of course, didn't really mean to do it, but the fans basically grabbed onto this character and just absolutely fell in love with her. So when Hasbro saw how popular this character was, they started popping her around in little kind of Easter egg hunt things in episodes, like Where's Waldo? So that way, you would always be able to look for her. She has actually appeared in many episodes that I did not even know about until today, that a lot of people probably don't even know about. Now, the reason for the Derpy Hooves name, a popular little meme on the internet is a strange little face that has crossed eyes and just a goofy look on its face, and a lot of people call it a derp face. Now, with how similar it is to Derpy's face, a lot of people decided, hey, she kind of looks like she has a derp face, and then they realized that they could call her Derpy Hooves. Now, as I said, a lot of people consider the eyes as kind of a mental disorder, but it isn't really. And I will get into that a little bit into the episode after I talk a little bit after I talk about her appearances. I'll get into a little bit more. But that also brings me to the second name. In the episode Applebuck season, she does appear again, and she does say something, but she only says one word, and the fan community grabbed onto it pretty badly. She says the word muffins because she is wanting a muffin in the episode. Well, the fan community kind of took it as, well, that's the only thing she's ever said. That's the only thing we have to relate to her at all. So they named her Muffins, and they made her obsessed with muffins. She loves to eat muffins. She can't stand being away from muffins. She goes in wild rampages if she doesn't get muffins, and so on and so on. Well, Hasbro never fully made this an official idea, so it wasn't really something that was official. Well, later on, there was another episode called Winter Wrap Up, and in the episode, a mare is talking to Rainbow Dash, and she says Ditsy Doo flew off in the wrong direction again. And the fans kind of thought to themselves, oh, Ditsy Doo, the name and also her actions kind of describe what we imagine Derpy's like. So they started speculating, is this Hasbro's official name for this gray mare? Well, later on in a conference, Lauren Faust did mention that Ditsy Doo may or may not be the name for said gray mare. Well, even then, a lot of people were still attached to the name Derpy, so there has just been a fairly large war going back and forth between the name Derpy and the name Ditsy. Well, that also brings us to another point. Well, actually, that we were brought to this point a while ago, of her eyes and her excessive bumbling. Now, when in season 2, in an episode called The Last Roundup, Derpy does make her first official appearance, and Rainbow Dash specifically refers to her as Derpy. Well, she's talking to her, and they're trying to fix the main town hall, and Derpy turns out to be a very, very clumsy pony, and basically completely destroys half of the town hall. And she also has a fairly strange voice, and as I said, she has the crossed eyes, and she just seems fairly simple. Well, when this episode aired, a lot of people across the internet finally got what they wanted. They finally saw Derpy talk. They finally saw Derpy, well, actually officially in the episodes, they heard her voice and everything. Well, there was unfortunately another side to this. A lot of people thought that it was incredibly insulting to people that actually have conditions like this and disorders like this, that they are depicted in such a way. One person that was against this was actually an expert on the subject of disorders and handicaps, and she actually wrote a fairly long blog about it, and a war basically raged back and forth on the internet about this. Well, Hasbro stepped in. They pulled the episode, and they basically tried to pull as much information about the episode and about Derpy herself off the internet. Well, the fans really didn't like this, especially after they learned that Hasbro didn't plan on bringing her back. So a very large petition was started, and there were tons of videos going around the internet talking about Save Derpy and everything. There is one particular one. It's called Derpy Censoring Sorry, and it's not very easy to watch. It's a very heart-wrenching video. Basically, one of the most popular voice actresses for fan-made Derpy appearances decided that she was going to make a video, and she was going to have it to where Derpy is apologizing to the audiences and to all the people that she insulted, and to Hasbro themselves, and it's just a very sad video, but it's kind of one of the landmark videos for the series. But going to the point of why her eyes are like that, a lot of people automatically assume it is some sort of mental retardation, which it is actually not. Derpy is actually depicted as very smart in a lot of the fan-made episodes and in the actual episodes themselves. She's depicted as a very nice pony, as a very kind of calm pony, even if she is kind of a klutz. Well, the condition that most explains, well, her, is a condition called strabismus. More specifically, the type of strabismus that she would probably have is called Brown syndrome. And basically what this does is it messes with your frontal lobe in your brain, making your eyes shoot off in random directions, and it messes up your coordination and depth perception very bad. So it explains her eyes themselves, and it also explains her being as clumsy as she is. But as I said, this is not something that is officially accepted by Hasbro, so it's just one of the theories that fits the best. Now, Derpy actually did appear again in Season 4, Episode 10, the most recent one as of this episode on January 22nd, 2014. And needless to say, the internet fairly exploded about it. They were in a hospital wing, and the door kind of opened up really slowly, and Derpy walked in, and you could almost hear the people across the internet screaming their heads off because Derpy was back. She was in the episode for a fairly long time. She did not say a single word though, but she was her. She had her eyes were crossed still. She seemed fairly simple and very, very happy, but she just didn't talk. But they didn't seem to have changed her in any other way. Now, one of the things that the fan-made community grabbed onto really just a lot was just her attitude, like how happy of a pony that she is. They made tons of fan-made animations and episodes and fan fictions and just tons and tons of stuff. She is definitely up there for the most popular background pony in the series. A lot of people have been questioning what her cutie mark means, and I will get to that in a second because it can be better explained with something. Well, besides the actual appearances of her in the episodes, they actually have put her into a lot of other things. Uh, one particularly, uh, one particular fan-made story depicted her as a male mare, or the post pony, I guess you could say. And the fan-made community kind of realized, this idea actually fits her pretty well because, it seems like something that she would do. So the idea kind of really stuck with her. So it is widely accepted that she is the male mare for Ponyville. It's also widely accepted that she loves her job and she loves meeting people. There have been many fan-made fictions to where everyone else loves her being her and doing her job as she does because they love seeing her, they love talking to her and everything. Another little fan-made thing that they have is there is a little filly in the series that resembles Derpy very, very closely. Now, a lot of fans saw this and they thought to themselves, could this be Derpy's daughter? So a lot of them started making fan fictions and animations and stuff for it. Well, that also raised the question of who could the father be? Well, some people just went off and made a male version of Derpy named Dopey. Well, again, this wasn't really like official by Hasbro, but they did kind of accidentally solve the problem. In the episode The Cutie Mark Chronicles, Apple Bloom and Applejack are standing on the street, standing by the street, selling apples to passerbys from a cart. And one of the ponies, a male pony walks by, and Apple Bloom stops him and starts talking to him, and starts harassing him to buy some apples. But that wasn't even really what a lot of people paid attention to. A lot of people paid attention to his hairstyle and his cutie mark and how he talked and acted. Well, for those of you that have watched the series Doctor Who, he resembled the Doctor very, very closely. His hair matched up with a couple of the Doctors. His attitude matched up. His cutie mark itself was an hourglass. So a lot of the community immediately assumed that this was Hasbro's. This was how Hasbro saw Doctor Who in their. This was how they depicted Doctor Who in their series. Well, his name actually was Time Turner, but with how popular this idea became, they decided to go with the Doctor Who idea, thus naming him Derpy Hooves. Well, they had a comic book series going about the Friendship is Magic series, just little official off stories. And after they kind of realized that this was something pretty good, they decided to make one for Dr. Hooves himself. Well, they actually, of course, made him Dr. Hooves, so he had the TARDIS and the sonic screwdriver, but the only thing that he was missing was his assistant. Well, they decided to choose Derpy Hooves herself. So she started popping up along with him in the comics, and people started to realize that this could be the father. This really explains it. Well, needless to say, fan fictions of Doctor Who's and Derpy and animations and tons of other things started popping up across the internet about Doctor Who's being with Derpy and then having Dinky, and it Hasbro just accidentally adds on tons of lore with little things in their in the series, and Derpy definitely is one of the most popular ones. So I hope that you all enjoyed this fairly well, and I hope that some of you learned something. And for those of you that didn't learn anything here and you already knew all this, it's always good to have a nice reminder. So I will see you all next episode, and I hope you have a nice day.